The Black Waitress helps a drunk billionaire get home. 1 week later, she becomes Rel. Welcome to Tales by Orion. Let's uncover what really happened. The opulent glow of the Sapphire and Pearl, an establishment so exclusive its address was whispered, not advertised, shimmered softly in the twilight of the city's highest skyscraper. Every surface, from the polished obsidian bar to the intricately laid mosaic floor, reflected the soft light of bespoke fixtures, creating an ambiance that dripped with hushed wealth. The air itself seemed expensive, perfumed with the delicate scent of truffles and rare spirits. This was a place where conversations were always murmured, laughter was restrained, and every patron moved with the confident grace of inherited privilege. Amidst this meticulously crafted tableau of silent indulgence, moved Anya, a waitress whose presence was as unobtrusive as the perfectly folded linen napkins she carried. Her uniform, a simple, impeccably tailored black dress with a crisp, starchy white apron, rendered her largely invisible, a seamless extension of the restaurant's flawless machinery. Yet beneath that unassuming exterior, Anya possessed a profound perceptiveness, an almost preternatural ability to absorb every nuance of her surroundings. Her eyes, sharp and intelligent, missed nothing. The subtle flicker of a patron's impatience, the strained smile of a couple attempting to project happiness, the precise moment a champagne flute needed refilling before a single bubble could settle. She moved with an economical elegance, her steps silent, her hands steady, as if she were a living embodiment of the restaurant's exacting standards. Her quietness was not born of timidity, but of a deep well of observation, a profound understanding that the most significant insights were often found in the subtle, unspoken cues. She understood the intricate, almost ritualistic dance of expectation and fulfillment that defined this world. Even as she occupied its most humble position, there was a quiet dignity in her work, a meticulous dedication to perfection that transcended the simple act of serving food. She took pride in the seamless flow of service, the unblemished gleam of a freshly polished plate, the precise placement of every piece of cutlery. These small acts of precision were her quiet rebellion against the perceived insignificance of her role, a testament to an inner world of order and profound capability that few, if any, ever recognized. Her performance was a silent, rigorous ballet, observed only by the critical, perpetually disapproving eye of the restaurant's general manager, a man named Victor Thorne. Thorne was the embodiment of superficial authority, a figure whose presence cast a chilling shadow over the otherwise serene dining room. He moved with a perpetually harried swagger, his perfectly coiffed hair and perpetually pressed suit unable to mask the deep-seated insecurity that drove his every action. He believed himself to be the sole architect of the Sapphire and Pearl's flawless reputation, a culinary dictator whose every directive was absolute law. In reality, he was a micromanager, obsessed with appearances, prone to barking orders, and quick to blame others for any minor imperfection. He thrived on the visible exercise of power, on instilling a pervasive sense of fear and subservience among his staff. To Thorne, the waitstaff were mere automatons, extensions of his will, their personal lives and capabilities utterly irrelevant. He dismissed their humanity, reducing them to interchangeable cogs in his meticulously controlled machine. Anya, with her quiet efficiency and unyielding dignity, was a particular irritant to him. Her calm composure in the face of his bluster, her refusal to be visibly flustered or intimidated, grated against his fragile ego. He saw her silence, not as strength, but as a subtle defiance, an unspoken challenge to his authority. He believed she lacked the passion, the spark, the dynamic personality he thought necessary for a front-of-house role, and he seized every opportunity to remind her of her perceived shortcomings, to push her, to try and break her composure. His taunts were often subtle, delivered under the guise of constructive criticism, but their intent was always clear: to belittle, to diminish, to enforce her perceived inferiority. But Anya remained unyielding, a quiet stone in the tumultuous current of his insecurity. She absorbed his barbs, processed them, and simply continued her work with the same unwavering professionalism, her gaze steady, her movements precise. This refusal to react, this quiet resilience, only served to fuel Thorne's frustration, intensifying his need to find her breaking point, to finally get the visible reaction he so desperately craved. He wanted to see her crumble, to prove to himself, and to everyone else, that he was truly in control. He would find her weakness, he vowed, and when he did, he would exploit it for all to see, to solidify his own fleeting sense of power in this gilded cage. This particular evening, the restaurant was exceptionally busy. A charity gala filling every table with the city's elite. The energy was electric, but underneath, a familiar tension simmered, amplified by Thorne's heightened state of control. Anya, navigating the crowded tables with her usual grace, felt the weight of the evening, the immense pressure to maintain flawless service. Her focus remained unwavering, her commitment to excellence an intrinsic part of her being, a silent promise to herself that she would not be defined by the petty tyrannies of her immediate superior. This was her daily battle, fought not with words, but with unwavering competence, a quiet war waged for her own dignity against the endless tide of casual dismissals. Anya's past was not a tale of simple trajectory. She hadn't arrived at the Sapphire and Pearl's service staff by mere chance. Her early life had been marked by a precocious intellect, a mind that devoured complex systems and intricate patterns with an almost insatiable hunger. Her natural aptitude for data analysis and logistical problem-solving had blossomed during her university years, where she pursued a demanding dual degree in business analytics and supply chain management. She excelled, her projects often lauded for their innovative approaches to optimizing global networks. She graduated at the top of her class, her resume already boasting impressive accomplishments, hinting at a brilliant future, a world of boardrooms and strategic decision-making. However, life intervened with a sudden, devastating curveball. Her family, originally from a developing nation, faced a catastrophic health crisis back home, requiring urgent, immensely expensive medical intervention for a beloved younger sibling. Her parents, despite their tireless efforts, found themselves drowning in debt. Without hesitation, Anya put her burgeoning corporate career on an indefinite hold. The high-paying analyst positions, the opportunities for groundbreaking research, the vibrant world of global strategy she was poised to enter, all receded. She chose instead to become the immediate, sole financial lifeline for her family, taking on any work that offered immediate and substantial income, no matter how far removed it was from her professional aspirations. When the immediate crisis passed, years later, the professional landscape she had left behind had shifted dramatically. The networks she'd painstakingly built had faded. The cutting-edge software she once mastered felt a step behind, and the gaping hole in her resume loomed like an insurmountable chasm to potential employers. Faced with mounting financial obligations and a desperate need for immediate stable income, she found herself walking through the opulent doors of the Sapphire and Pearl, not as a future executive, but as a waitress. It was a means to an end, a temporary solution that somehow stretched into years, each day a quiet test of her resilience. Yet the intellectual fire within her had never truly extinguished. In the quiet hours of the night, after she had meticulously served discerning patrons and polished gleaming surfaces, she would return home and immerse herself in the very subjects she loved. She subscribed to online courses in advanced data modeling, devoured industry white papers on global logistics, and followed the latest trends in corporate strategy and behavioral economics. She practiced her analytical software, tinkered with new data visualization tools, and even began sketching out new operational flowcharts for businesses she observed, filling countless notebooks with intricate diagrams and elegant solutions to complex problems. Her mind remained razor-sharp, constantly analyzing, constantly seeking patterns and efficiencies in everything she observed, including the chaotic workflows of the very restaurant she cleaned. Her waitressing job, with its built-in invisibility, became an unexpected vantage point, allowing her to observe the inner workings of a high-end service establishment with a clarity and detachment that no manager, certainly not Victor Thorne, could ever possess. She understood the flow of information, the choke points in service delivery, the human element that often sabotaged even the most well-designed operational protocols. She saw the subtle power dynamics, the unspoken resentments, the hidden inefficiencies that Thorne, in his obsession with superficial control, completely overlooked. This quiet pursuit of knowledge, this unwavering dedication to her craft, was her secret solace, a constant affirmation that her true self was still intact, still thriving, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Her hands might be carrying plates, but her mind was still building bridges to the future, observing, analyzing, and quietly preparing for a different kind of impact. She held on to her dignity, knowing that her worth was not defined by her current role, but by the profound intellectual capacity that pulsed beneath her unassuming uniform. The charity gala at the Sapphire and Pearl was drawing to a close. Liam Vance, a titan of industry, whose name resonated through global financial markets, was notoriously private, rarely seen at such public events. Tonight, he had clearly indulged too freely in the restaurant's extensive wine list. He stood near the entrance, swaying almost imperceptibly, his usually sharp eyes slightly glazed, his impeccably tailored suit rumpled. Victor Thorne immediately spotted Vance's disheveled state, his face hardened with barely concealed disgust. To Thorne, a public display of intoxication, especially from a figure of Vance's stature, was an unforgivable blemish on the sapphire and pearl's pristine image. He hurried towards Vance, his voice a low, hissed whisper. "Mr. Vance, is everything all right? Your driver should be here shortly. Perhaps you'd prefer to wait in the private lounge." His words were not an offer of help, but a thinly veiled directive to remove the unsightly problem. Anya, moving through the periphery, observed the scene. Her trained eye immediately picked up on the subtle cues Thorne missed. The tremor in Vance's hands, not just from alcohol, but from a deeper fatigue. The unfocused gaze that suggested a profound disorientation beyond mere drunkenness. The vulnerability in his posture. She saw the genuine distress. As Thorne continued to pressure Vance, subtly trying to steer him towards a side exit, Anya noticed something else, something critical. A small black leather wallet, thin but clearly expensive, had slipped from Vance's inner jacket pocket and lay half-hidden beneath a plush velvet chair. Anya's mind, accustomed to rapid risk assessment, immediately recognized the danger. Her instincts urged her to act. Thorne was too preoccupied with appearance, too blind to true service. Anya, however, saw a man, disoriented and exposed, and a genuine danger that could easily be averted. She continued to glide through the room, her movements seamless, her presence still largely invisible to Thorne. Her path converged with the chair, her hand dipping down with practiced ease, retrieving the wallet in a single fluid motion. She held it discreetly in her hand, her fingers subtly confirming its contents. The weight of it, the potential implications, settled in her palm. Her next decision was not about protocol, but about ethics. She knew Thorne would likely reprimand her for interfering if he saw her. But the genuine need, the vulnerability of a fellow human being, outweighed any fear of her manager's ire. She resolved to do what was right, regardless of the consequences. The low hum of the restaurant's receding activity filled the air as the last gala guests trickled out. Victor Thorne, momentarily distracted, had turned his attention away from Liam Vance, who now stood alone, swaying slightly. Anya seized the fleeting opportunity. She approached Vance, her voice a low, clear murmur. "Mr. Vance, your driver is running a few minutes late. May I escort you to a quieter, more comfortable area while we wait?" Vance blinked, his eyes trying to focus. He mumbled something incoherent. Anya gently took his elbow. "You dropped this, sir," she said, discreetly slipping his wallet back into his pocket. Vance's eyes widened slightly. "Oh," he breathed. "Thank you. My apologies." He tried to offer her a tip. Anya gently but firmly declined. "It's my pleasure, sir. Ensuring our guests' comfort and safety is paramount." She guided him towards a secluded alcove near the kitchen entrance, arranging a comfortable chair. She then made a quick, decisive phone call to his chauffeur, not through official channels, but directly from a number in his wallet, ensuring privacy. While waiting, she brought him cool water and remained nearby, discreetly checking on him. Thorne, meanwhile, had finally concluded his taxi arrangements. He returned to the main entrance, scanning for Vance. He spotted Anya's slight form near the service entrance and hurried over. "Anya, what are you doing? Where's Mr. Vance? He should be out front, not hiding in some service corridor," he snapped. Anya remained calm, discreetly shielding Vance. "Mr. Vance is resting, Mr. Thorne," she replied. "His driver will be here momentarily, via the service entrance, for a more discreet departure. I've already confirmed the route." Thorne bristled at her initiative. Before he could launch into a tirade, the hum of a luxury sedan became audible. Anya gently helped Vance to his feet, guiding him steadily towards the vehicle. Vance, though still somewhat disoriented, turned to her. He extended a hand. "Thank you, Anya," he said, his voice sincere. "You handled that beautifully. You have my gratitude." He paused, his gaze lingering on her for a moment, then climbed into the car and disappeared into the night. Thorne, left standing by the service entrance, fuming, watched the car depart. His face was a mask of furious frustration. He spun on Anya. "Do you ever listen, Anya? Do you understand protocol? You overstepped. You handled that completely incorrectly. We don't hide our guests in service alleys," he hissed. "You just made a mess, Anya. A huge mess. You're lucky I don't write you up for insubordination right now. You just don't understand how this business works, do you? He turned and strode back into the restaurant, still fuming, completely oblivious to the silent, profound impact of Anya's actions, and utterly unaware of the true identity and extraordinary influence of the man she had just helped. He dismissed her quietly competent initiative as a transgression, entirely missing the forest for the trees, a crucial blind spot that would ultimately be his undoing. The following week at the Sapphire and Pearl was for Anya a continuation of her usual quiet routine, albeit with a subtle undercurrent of unease. Victor Thorne's ire had intensified. He assigned her the most demanding tables and tedious side work, his criticisms more frequent, aimed at subtly breaking her composure. He believed he was re-establishing the pecking order he felt she had challenged. One morning, during the pre-shift meeting, Thorne addressed the staff, speaking at length about maintaining the highest standards, frequently flicking his eyes to Anya. He subtly insinuated that some staff members needed to learn to stick to their roles and avoid stepping outside their designated responsibilities, a thinly veiled reference to Anya's intervention with Vance. He underscored the importance of following established protocols, even if it meant sacrificing a guest's immediate comfort for the sake of the restaurant's public image. He believed his subtle warnings were sinking in, reinforcing his culture of fear. Meanwhile, Thorne's flawless management style continued to create quiet problems. Staff morale continued to plummet. Fear stifled creativity, leading to sluggish problem-solving. A new ambitious head sommelier, frustrated by Thorne's dismissive attitude, quietly resigned. Experienced waiters began looking for work at competitor establishments, a slow but steady drain of talent Thorne failed to recognize. He attributed turnover to lack of dedication. He was also short-sighted with customer loyalty, prioritizing high spenders and dismissing regulars. He excelled at charming the surface, but failed at cultivating lasting relationships. Anya, observing all of this, saw the patterns clearly: wasted potential, stifled creativity, quiet hemorrhaging of talent. She saw how Thorne's arrogance impacted the bottom line. She continued her duties, but her observations were sharpened by a profound sense of purpose. She collected data mentally. Thorne's unnecessary interventions, stifled initiative, frustrated colleagues. She kept a silent log of dismissed customer complaints, the subtle decline in positive feedback, the rising tension. She understood Thorne's reign was built on sand, his illusion of perfection eroding. Her quiet resilience remained her armor, but it was now imbued with determination. She knew the truth, her truth, and the truth of the Sapphire and Pearl's dysfunction, would eventually find its way to someone who mattered, someone who could see beyond the gleaming chrome and forced smiles. She waited, patiently, knowing every cruel act only dug his grave deeper. Exactly 1 week later, the hushed elegance of the Sapphire and Pearl was shattered by an unexpected, deliberate arrival. It was mid-afternoon. Victor Thorne was berating a junior host. Suddenly, the ornate front doors swung open. Liam Vance stood framed in the entrance. But this was the titan of industry, in his full, formidable glory, impeccably dressed, his eyes sharp and clear, radiating unwavering authority. He didn't enter alone. 2 high-level executives flanked him, followed by 2 security personnel. The air in the restaurant thickened. Patrons paused. Staff froze, recognizing the formidable presence. Thorne, mid-tirade, felt the silence and turned. His jaw slackened. All color drained from his face. The memory of Vance's inebriated departure, his own dismissive handling, flashed with horrifying clarity. "Mr. Vance?" Thorne stammered, a mere whisper laced with dread. He stumbled forward, a nervous smile plastered on his face. "Sir, what a pleasant surprise." Vance did not return his smile. His expression was cold, unreadable. "Mr. Thorne," Vance began, his voice calm but resonant, "I am not here for a social visit, and it is not a pleasant surprise." Thorne stammered, I see, sir. Is there a problem?" Vance took a slow, deliberate step. "Yes, Mr. Thorne. There was a problem, a profound one, and it stems directly from your management style." Thorne's face crumpled. He looked around frantically, then desperately landed on Anya, observing quietly. He quickly tried to shift blame. "Sir, I assure you, any issues are addressed, and if any staff member, perhaps someone who overstepped their bounds, caused you discomfort, I assure you they would be dealt with swiftly and severely." Vance's gaze subtly shifted to Anya. A faint, almost imperceptible smile touched his lips. "Actually, Mr. Thorne," Vance said, his voice gaining a new, quiet power, "I think we need to talk about that very staff member, and her overstepping." He paused, his gaze fixed on Anya, then commanded, "Anya, please step forward." The command, delivered with absolute authority, rippled through the stunned silence. Anya calmly adjusted her uniform, her gaze unwavering as she walked deliberately towards Vance. Thorne watched her approach, a horrifying premonition settling deep in his gut. His attempts to deflect had spectacularly backfired. The gleaming surfaces of the sapphire and pearl suddenly felt like polished glass under a searing spotlight, every flaw and hidden truth about to be laid bare. The command, "Anya, please step forward," reverberated, cutting through the thick silence. Every eye snapped to Anya. Victor Thorne, his face a mask of terror, watched her walk, not with hurried anxiety, but with quiet, unyielding dignity. She stopped directly in front of Liam Vance, her posture straight, her gaze calm. Vance's face softened. "Anya," he said, "I believe you were the one who ensured my safe passage last week, when I was indisposed, and you returned my wallet, discreetly, without seeking recognition or reward." His eyes swept to Thorne. "A fact, Mr. Thorne, that you dismissed as incorrect handling and insubordination." Thorne flinched. Thorne opened his mouth, but no sound emerged. Vance turned fully to Thorne. "Mr. Thorne," he began, his voice low and dangerous, "I have spent the last week conducting an extensive investigation into the sapphire and pearl. Your management style is not merely problematic, it is a cancerous blight on this establishment." Thorne staggered. "Sir, I can explain." Vance cut him off. "High standards, Mr. Thorne. I witnessed you publicly humiliating your staff. I heard you disparage their intelligence, dismiss their concerns, and create an atmosphere of fear that stifles every shred of initiative and genuine service." He turned back to Anya. "Anya, here, is a testament to what true dedication looks like. While you were busy focusing on appearances and belittling others, she was quietly ensuring the actual well-being of our guests, solving problems you couldn't even perceive." He paused. "My investigation revealed a shocking level of staff turnover, directly linked to your abusive behavior. Talented individuals leaving because they could no longer endure your toxic leadership. Customer loyalty subtly eroding as your fear-based management trickles down to impact the dining experience." Thorne's face was ashen. He saw the looks on his staff's faces, relief, vindication. Vance then turned to Anya. "Anya," he said, "I looked into your background, and I discovered something truly remarkable." Thorne's breath hitched. "You are not just an exceptional waitress, Anya. You are a graduate with top honors in business analytics and supply chain management. Your resume, the one you had to set aside to care for your family, details groundbreaking work in systems optimization and logistical design. You are in essence a strategic genius, forced by circumstance into a role that has kept your profound intellect hidden." The revelation hit the room like a seismic shockwave. Gasps rippled through the staff, and patrons stared. Thorne's eyes widened, a horrifying understanding settling in his gut. Vance then turned to Thorne. "Mr. Thorne, effective immediately. Your employment with this conglomerate is terminated. You are to vacate the premises within the hour. Your actions are a direct violation of our core values." Thorne crumpled. "No, sir, please. I apologize." Vance cut him off. "Ignorance, Mr. Thorne, is no excuse for malice. And the inability to recognize true talent and worth regardless of its packaging is a fatal flaw in a leader." He turned back to Anya. "Anya, I want to offer you a new beginning. Not just a job, but a position that matches your extraordinary capabilities. I am creating a new executive role at our corporate headquarters, Director of Strategic Operations. Your work will directly shape the future of this company. Will you accept?" Anya, her face radiating a quiet, profound acceptance, met Vance's gaze. "Yes, Mr. Vance," she replied, her voice soft but clear. "I accept." Thorne, witnessing this, felt the full crushing weight of his undoing. He was not just fired, he was utterly exposed. The immediate aftermath of Victor Thorne's public downfall was a maelstrom of shock and profound relief. Escorted by security, his face a mask of despair, Thorne shuffled through the dining room, his confident swagger replaced by a defeated limp. The air he left behind was lighter, a collective exhale rippling through the restaurant. Staff members, liberated from his tyranny, openly embraced. Anya, having witnessed the unraveling she inadvertently orchestrated, felt profound justice. She continued her duties with efficiency, but a lightness now settled in her steps. Thorne's dismissal sent seismic tremors through hospitality circles. News of his undoing, amplified by Vance's intervention, spread like wildfire. His network dissolved, his resume stained. Attempts to secure new management positions were met with cold silence. He was blacklisted. His arrogance became a crippling liability. His financial stability eroded, leaving him adrift. He was forced to confront the reality that his tactics were meaningless without genuine character. He eventually found himself relegated to low-paying odd jobs, a constant bitter reminder of his undoing. The Sapphire and Pearl, under a new empathetic manager appointed by Vance, underwent a profound transformation. Staff morale soared, customer satisfaction improved, and the restaurant radiated authentic hospitality. Meanwhile, Anya's ascent within Liam Vance's conglomerate was swift and undeniable. Her transition from the restaurant floor to the executive offices was seamless, propelled by her intellect and unique ground-level perspective. She devoured her new role as Director of Strategic Operations with meticulous dedication. Her early projects, focused on optimizing communication and enhancing employee engagement, yielded immediate, measurable improvements across multiple brands. She implemented intuitive training, designed streamlined feedback systems, and championed initiatives that fostered respect. Her proposals were consistently elegant, data-driven, and profoundly human. She approached every challenge with quiet confidence, her insights revered. Her quiet demeanor was now recognized as profound strength. She didn't seek the spotlight, but her work shone brightly, reshaping the company's approach. Her journey from unnoticed cleaner to indispensable strategist became an inspiring internal legend, a testament to Vance's visionary leadership and Anya's undeniable genius. She found profound satisfaction, knowing her efforts contributed to a more equitable, efficient, and successful organization. Her worth was no longer measured by polished floors, but by systemic changes, positive impact, and the quiet dignity with which she navigated her extraordinary new path. The irony of her rise contrasted with Thorne's fall was a poignant testament to the timeless truth that arrogance often digs its own grave, while true value, however hidden, eventually finds its light. The story of Anya, the quiet waitress, and Victor Thorne, the arrogant manager, became a foundational narrative within Liam Vance's vast hospitality empire. It wasn't merely a cautionary tale. It was a living testament to Vance's philosophy that true organizational strength lay not in rigid hierarchies or superficial displays of power, but in cultivating a culture of respect, empathy, and recognition of hidden talent. Vance often recounted the incident in leadership summits and corporate training programs, emphasizing how Anya's quiet observations, born from her position at the very ground level of service, provided insights that a top-down management approach would have entirely missed. Her single courageous act, her quiet kindness, had not only saved him from public embarrassment, but had exposed a systemic rot that threatened the very soul of the Sapphire and Pearl. The incident spurred a company-wide cultural revolution. New manager training programs were rigorously implemented, explicitly focusing on empathetic leadership, active listening, and empowering frontline staff rather than belittling them. Anonymous feedback systems were actively promoted, genuinely valuing input from every employee. Staff retention improved dramatically, customer satisfaction scores soared, and Vance's conglomerate saw a significant increase in both productivity and profit. The Sapphire and Pearl, once shadowed by Thorne's oppressive tension, became a shining beacon of positive employee culture and exceptional service. Robert Thorne, meanwhile, became a ghost in the professional world. His arrogance and documented history of misconduct rendered him virtually unemployable. He struggled to find work, his past following him like a persistent shadow. He was forced to confront the stark reality that his superficial charm and aggressive tactics were meaningless without genuine character and competence. His downfall was not a dramatic collapse, but a slow grinding descent into professional obscurity, a bitter solitary reckoning with the consequences of his own hubris. He was left with nothing but the echo of his own booming laugh and the ghost of his lost empire. Anya, however, continued her quiet, impactful ascent. Her role expanded, taking on broader strategic responsibilities across Vance's diverse portfolio of businesses. Her insights became integral to the company's long-term vision. She thrived in her new environment, respected by her peers, valued by her superiors, and admired by the frontline staff she now championed. Her work, consistently characterized by elegant solutions and a profound understanding of human dynamics, consistently yielded tangible results, reinforcing Vance's initial, audacious decision to elevate her. She never sought fame or recognition beyond the positive impact of her work. Her satisfaction came from seeing real change, from knowing that her efforts were making a tangible difference. She remained the same quiet, observant, dignified individual. But her silence was now understood as a profound capacity for listening, processing, and understanding. The scars of her past had not broken her. They had forged her, sharpening her perception, deepening her resolve, and reminding her of the enduring power of empathy and resilience. Her story served as a powerful testament to the timeless truth that true worth is not found in a job title or the loudness of one's voice, but in the depths of one's character, the resilience of one's spirit, and the unwavering pursuit of one's passions. The world is filled with hidden potential. Never judge a book by its cover. Never underestimate the quiet ones. They are often the most observant, the most intelligent, and the most capable of enacting profound, lasting change. For those who choose to listen, to truly see beyond superficial appearances, the rewards are immeasurable. Anya's journey reminds us that every interaction is an opportunity, every quiet observation a potential revelation, and that sometimes, the most powerful messages are delivered not through grand speeches, but through a small, courageous act, changing lives and even empires in the quiet, unexpected moment. What hidden potentials are you overlooking in your own life, or in the lives of those around you? What silent observations are waiting to be heard? And what act of quiet courage might change everything for someone else? The answer often lies, not in seeking the spotlight, but in illuminating the truth, wherever it may be found. Embrace the power of quiet observation, for in a world of constant noise, the keenest insights are often found in the stillness. Let this story remind you that true influence is built on integrity, not arrogance, and that a single act of genuine kindness can echo through the halls of power, reshaping destinies and redefining success in ways that no amount of self-promotion ever could. The quiet triumphs are often the most profound, leaving legacies that far outlast the fleeting moments of public display. So, look closely, listen intently, and never underestimate the quiet strength that surrounds you.